The Magic of Compound Recruiting: The Secrets of Building a Super Hierarchy by Hubert Humphrey. In this audio, we will unfold Chapter 10, a system whereby building never stops, the hold a meeting system, the one on one opportunity meeting, how to present a dynamic opportunity meeting, preparation, the magic of crowds, the presentation, suggested opportunity meeting agenda, after the presentation, monitor the numbers, the Humphrey Management Factory, how the factory works, 8 filters, review your results, cranking it out, and the buddy system. This begins Chapter 10, a system whereby building never stops. The hold a meeting system. I remember one of the first meetings I ever held. It was 2 o'clock in the morning on a caboose at the back of a freight train going 55 miles per hour between Macon and Columbus. I had the extra board flagman on the job with me. We were sitting in the cupola of the caboose, and I told him I wanted to draw out something that he would be very interested in. So he brought his lantern over, and I had mine. And we hooked them under our arms and shone the beams on the top of the cardboard fuse box. Then I drew out plans for building a marketing business. That was my first meeting. The point behind this story is that to continually rebuilding, you must be constantly holding meetings. A meeting is any place where two or more people are gathered. The one on one opportunity meeting. This is the most important type of meeting to hold. As in the previous example, you only have to have one person as your audience. To build a super hierarchy, you should be having these types of meetings all the time. A meeting of 4 to 5 or nights per week. The results of this initial meeting will be to get a commitment to come to your opportunity meeting at night. Who? Friends, neighbors, relatives, coworkers, social contact, business associates. What? Focus on your business opportunity, supplementing with graphics. Tell the crusade by telling your story. Where? Home office, restaurant, work, or anywhere where two or more are gathered. When? Breakfast time, mid morning, lunchtime, afternoons, dinner time, evenings, anytime, and all the time. 4 to 5 nights per week. How? With enthusiasm and emotion. How to present a dynamic opportunity meeting. In the beginning of this book, I stated that one of your primary goals in building was to get more and more people, both old and new, to your opportunity meeting. I believe that the opportunity meeting concept lies at the very heart of a successful business. The more people you have at the meeting magically has a direct effect on the amount of sales produced by your base each month. Remember the formula: average number of people equals base shop per week at sales per opportunity meeting per month. It's no wonder that it's essential to have good meetings. The opportunity meeting is also designed to remotivate your existing team. Remember that these people have already come to work and been trained and stand ready as your natural resources. Don't ever count them out. The secondary purpose of the meeting is to sell the dream to new recruits. You always want to show bigness and stability in your presentation. Have a minimum of one meeting per week that lasts 1 to 1.5 hours. I think the best night is Tuesday. Larger base shops will hold 2 meetings per week. Every Tuesday and Thursday night would provide the proper momentum. Preparation. This is critical to the success of your meeting. And the most important part of your preparation is to make sure you have as many people as possible. I use an opportunity meeting projection sheet. Everyone in my base shop fills this sheet out every week. Administrative people call to confirm reservations and to encourage those old timers who have not signed up to come. Even if a rep hasn't been to a meeting in 2 months, he gets a phone call. When you call these people, make them feel good, even if they've been missing in action for a while. Let them know that you're counting on them to be there to help with the new people. Always do a projection sheet. If you don't prepare to have a good meeting, you won't. Plan to hold your meeting at your office or a meeting room. And in the first half of my meetings, I require slide support equipment, and in the second half of the meeting, I use a grease board to show marketing plans. All meetings should start promptly at 7:30 p.m. and conclude no later than 8:45 p.m., 1 hour and 15 minutes max, regardless of who and how many are in attendance. Before the meeting, all new people should: 1, have been advised that our business opportunity will be highlighted. 2, preferably have been driven to the meeting site by the ALW inviter. Everyone, both old and new people, should: 1, bring their spouse, if at all possible; 2, have been exposed to good, strong leaders with a positive winning attitude at all times; and 3, be registered in the attendance book for future records by law by their ALW friends and give a name tag highlighting their last name in bold print. 4, be properly introduced to the speakers for that night so that a warm rapport can immediately be established. 5, be made to feel at ease and properly seated in an opportunity meeting area. The magic of crowds. Your entire presentation should be dynamic and powerful. It should be conducted by the most enthusiastic and dynamic do it first leaders on the team. Preferably 2 leaders share speaking on pre assigned portions of agenda to provide balance. If you don't have the most super duper speakers in the world, don't let that stop you. You can still have a great meeting. There is great synergy at work in groups. I call it the magic of crowds. A large number of people creates a sense of urgency to get in and get going. People are more relaxed because they sense that you aren't going to bug them or beg them. Everyone involved is excited and enthusiastic. This is contagious. A business friend of mine visited a friend of his recently. This guy had a booming business, and people always go to see the guys who are hot. So he goes to see all this magic that is happening in his friend's business. When he finishes, the first guy says, "I give a better meeting than you. Why are you doing so much better?" The second guy says, "I never claimed to give a great presentation. The only difference between me and you is that I've got 300 people listening to me and you've got 30. The success of an opportunity meeting is determined by the number of people in attendance. I believe it's really impossible to give a bad presentation if your message is great. So stop worrying about your delivery and go for it." The presentation. During the presentation, your speaker will portray the following: no pressure, even a little laid back, sincerity and conviction, stability of company, crusade, work, no something for nothing here, unlimited opportunity challenge, freedom with responsibility, believability. They must see themselves winning. No hype is needed in your presentation. The facts are already good enough. Let this goodness show. Don't oversell. The infectious enthusiasm of the ALW friend is the key element in the new person, not the size of the office, the eloquence of the speakers, nor the impressive slides, videos, posters, etc. Suggested opportunity meeting agenda. A. Welcome guests, introduce a first speaker. First impressions are the most important. B. Get guests to dream, ponder goals, pump by relating your reasons for going into business. Point out reasons that most Americans have a feeling of hopelessness, such as inflation, job ceilings, lack of experience, lack of capital, and or fear of job security risk that prevents them from being in business for themselves. Describe how your business allows you to be your own boss with a business of your own. You start part time, usually with less than $100, regardless of your experience level, if you're ambitious and honest. C. Tell how you started. And D. Give good crusade orientated presentation relating flaws of cash value life insurance, funny baking rules, buy term and invest the difference, concept, asset management concepts brief, the decreasing responsibility theory, how to increase your net worth presentation, why mutual funds, why we're controversial, why we are right. If they don't like a good fight, maybe they should reconsider. E. Show tremendous market potential and need for financial products, services. And F. Show big picture but focus in on how to get started and earn realistic extra income part time. G. Share your local success and your upline success stories constantly, reminding the guests that if you can do it, they can do it. H. Wrap up presentation by reviewing key points to offer people a chance to do something special with their lives, to offer an alternative choice, buy term and invest the difference. Challenge the guests in this manner. If they're interested in hearing more, they're asked to stay for brief orientation at conclusion. If they're not interested, they may leave. Thank them for coming and encourage their doing business with you if they haven't already. They'll never know for sure if they can do this unless they try. The challenge at the end of the meeting is very important. You want them to see if they really want to get ahead in life. They have to keep an open mind about opportunities. Study everything as if this was the one. I tried many different career paths before I found the right one. If I had kept my trying machine going, I wouldn't have made it. Stress to them that they ought to at least try. After the presentation, one of the most important parts of the whole evening will take place after your presentation. It's critical that you do not just let people slip away without trying to get their pre-action or talking to them about the next step. Each new person should be linked back up to their ALW friend immediately at the end of the presentation and introduced to the person who is in charge of the training. This is the beginning of the follow-up system. Think positive. Always assume that a person will take the next step unless he or she shows something different by their hesitation or procrastination. In my follow-up system, I designate an officer or room for the meeting after the meeting with new guests. Here, I give them an appointment book and decision pack, materials to take home with them. This meeting should be brief, no more than 10 to 15 minutes. Everything should be over by 9 p.m. to allow guests to get home on time to socialize with the most important, interested guests. To sign up, the red hot ones, or possibly because you need to rush off to a 9:15 home appointment. Collapse timeframes. Monitor the numbers. You must learn to monitor your actual, and your post numbers at the opportunity meeting. I can't stress this enough. If you don't have a list of the names and addresses of the people who came to the meeting and who invited them, you've missed a great opportunity to follow up later. The Humphrey Management Factory. The Management Factory is designed to help you solve one primary problem that tempts you as you build your super hierarchy: the human tendency to quit. I am talking about your tendency to quit building because you think you have it made. For example, let's say I've hired Joe Stud, and I just know he's going to come to the opportunity meeting. I'm just certain that Joe is coming to be a superstar. He's going to build a great organization. So I quit talking to other people because I just know that Joe is going to come through. But Joe may not work out immediately. He may say he'll get back to me later. That's the killer. You can't stop building while waiting for a particular person to come through. You have to expect people to come in, but act as if no one will. how the factory works. I spent more than 15 years of my life as a railroad conductor. Day after day, I was involved in the operation of the trains, whose primary purpose was to transport raw materials to manufacturing plants in various locations across South Georgia. Years later, when I went into business for myself, I noticed a striking similarity between what I was doing and what I had been doing part of the day after day on the railroad. I began to compare potential new people to raw material and my office to a manufacturing site. Here is how the analogy breaks down: plant versus management factory. Raw material, potential new hires. Delivery transport system, new people and leaders selling the dream. Processing site, opportunity meeting. Screening filter system, follow up. Finish line, startup. Volume production, the new people building new people. Humphrey management, factory recruiting, plant system, raw material delivery system, transportation. ALW recruiter and new prospecting site, opportunity meetings, training session, orientation fundamentals, training section 2, prospecting and recruiting, training session 4, winning big in ALW, training session 3, ammunition for a crusade, and then training session 4, winning big in ALW. New people are the raw materials. The object is to get the raw materials to the plant processing site, or in our case, the opportunity meeting. Each builder is designated as a delivery vehicle. He or she is the transportation, supplying the factory with raw materials. Look at the diagram on the previous page. The builder approaches the raw material supply, which are the prospects. He brings a prospect to the plant site, the opportunity meeting. The delivery vehicle runs several times a week from the raw material supply to the plant processing site. This way, the pipeline stays filled with new potential people. Once at the opportunity meeting, the new prospect moves farther into the factory system. He learns more about the company, what it does for the consumer, and what it can do for him as a business opportunity. Meanwhile, the builder, after he has dropped off his raw material at the plant, goes to a refueling station or a training class. After the opportunity meeting and the training classes are over, the builder joins us with his prospect. The builder then escorts the prospect to the manager, where he begins what I call the 8 filter follow up. The follow up is a series of steps that the new prospect takes to tell you just how committed he really is. If he makes it through all 8 filters, then he becomes part of the management factory. This pattern continues for at least 4 training classes. Meanwhile, the new person studies state required education material, and possibly by the time he gets his license, he is ready to get started building his own business. 8 filters. The follow up system provides a means of testing the interested level of the new person. Each filter or step requires an additional commitment from the person. You should read his reactions carefully. They tell you how serious the person really is. Desire is the main ingredient to look for. To start the follow up, the builder must leave his training class in time to join up with the new person immediately following the opportunity meeting. Filter 1, stay after the meeting. This step is simply a challenge to the prospect to remain afterwards for a brief orientation. The keynote speaker ends his meeting by requesting that those who are interested should stay after the meeting. He also thanks those who are not interested and asks them to leave. Filter 2, take home information. Each new person should take home some type of information packet, something of value that will provide him with an increased knowledge and awareness of the opportunity you're offering. The manager is expected to point out which materials will work best for that particular person. The idea here is that the prospect must take home something of value no matter what. Filter 3, schedule follow up interview. If the prospect commits to a definite time within the next 24 to 48 hours to meet with the leader for a follow up interview, then you know he or she is probably very interested. It's during this interview that he submits hiring papers. Set up this appointment the night of the opportunity meeting and try to arrange to have it at the office. I've seen too many people run all over the country trying to get hiring papers back, and the person is conveniently not at home. There is no way of knowing whether the extra trouble that you go to for one person will be worth it. Set up a dynamic appointment. Set up a daytime appointment, which will increase the prospect's level of commitment. Filter 4, prospect submits hiring papers. This is the ultimate indication of commitment. If the potential new person fills out the hiring papers, you can feel sure he or she is a serious interest. Filter 5, quality leads, sign letters. If a prospect is truly interested, he or she will sit down with you and fully qualify his leads. Signing referral letters, letters sent to prospects advising them of the opportunity. A really committed recruit will sign 20 letters of referral. When you are qualifying a person's leads, you should decide whether or not they need to 1, go by, 2, call the person by phone. Never treat him as if you're some greedy person trying to get names from him. Ultimately, the names will be to help him to build his business. I talked to him about how great the possibilities are because of all the people he knows. If you keep jogging someone's memory, he can come up with all kinds of names. Work towards getting as many as 100 referrals from a new person are critical to his survival in this business. One of the biggest reasons for a lack of activity in your office is that people are wasting too much valuable time on new people who have procrastinated tendencies. The new person should personalize these letters with a handwritten PS. He could write something like, I am going to try to drop by with my friend if at all possible. You really want to take a look at this. These letters are mailed directly to new prospects. Even though the new person cannot participate in a sale until he gets his license, you should always try to take him with you to observe. Filter 6, determine immediate goals. You know a new person is committed when he tells you exactly what he wants to accomplish. You must find out why he is signing on, what he sees himself doing, and when he plans to attain his goals. Filter 7, fast start. If a prospect will immediately go out with you to the homes of his 3 best prospects, you may have found a super stud. Filter 8, client. Most new people who need our product and qualify for it will buy it. This shows that they truly believe in the value of the product and they are sincere in selling it. Review your results. It makes sense to hold a weekly managers meeting to review the past week's program and plan for upcoming weeks. Consider the following. How many prospects came from each team? How did the speakers at the opportunity meeting and the instructors in the training classes do? Was the space adequate? Did everyone go through a follow up? How many submitted hiring papers? How many sets of policies data were picked up? How many referral letters were signed? Which managers participated? That's just to get you started. The important thing to remember is to always be trying to improve your system. Set a goal of developing a very mobile and building orientated team of managers. This team should quickly build through their new reps. They hold the key to the team's success in this system by keeping a constant flow of prospects coming through. The plant superintendent, the leader, should have a building mentality and the vision of a master builder. He or she must constantly think and talk building, and must be the top builder on the team each month. When I build a base shop in Denver, we call it the Denver plant of the Humphrey Management Factory. There was even a sign that said that. We had shifts, training shifts to teach classes. The important thing was that everyone understood that the raw material was the people in the homes, and to get it to the plant site, we had to use delivery vehicles. The management factory produces successful leaders. It takes people, gets them excited, prepares them for their new career with thorough training, and sends them out as leaders who bring in even more prospects. Pushing up people. There's only one way to go wrong with the management factory analogy, and that's if you take it too far and don't treat people like people. You must take that pure business concept of getting raw materials to the plant and then understand that the raw materials is a human being who must be treated with respect. If you can apply the principles of pushing people, you'll have it made. Cranking it up. Just implementing the management factory for a few weeks or a month is not enough to make you a success. Remember that one of the purposes of implementing a system is to keep you from the human tendency of quitting. The management factory will help you do that, but you must work at it too. It took me 7 years to learn that no matter how good a guy is, you've got to keep on. You have to keep building. Expect Expect people to come in, but act as if no one will. The buddy system. Part of an effective management factory is making sure that each of your new people receives proper training. Remember that training is critical to your building program. You can't just hire masses of people and expect to build a super hierarchy. You must treat each new member to your team as if he or she were going to be a lifetime leader, and that means training them. I have set up a buddy system that helps me handle the high numbers that come on board in a big office. All you do is select a designated trainer who can help you when you have a surge of new people. Don't worry that your new people won't see you as their leader. If you're not the one personally doing their training, you have to help them. And in the end, it won't matter which leader trains them. They will still perceive you as the team leaders. I think of it like a woman having a baby at the hospital. She stays in there for a few days, and during that time, there are nurses who help her by changing the diapers and bringing the baby up to the mother for feeding. But who does the baby remember when he grows up? Not the nurses who cared for him his first few days in the world, but the mother. Building principle. Work with those who deserve it, not just those who need it. Everyone needs your help, but you can't spend all your time worrying with people who will not meet you halfway by putting forth effort of their own. Every leader must make that distinction. This audio will give you the secrets of building a super hierarchy. This is the end of chapter 10 of the magic of compound recruiting.